It doesn't matter if you love him or hate him. It's indisputable that Adam is one of the most memorable characters from Hazbin Hotel. But while most see him as the villain that Hazbin Hotel portrayed him as, I'm fully willing to be the guy who will tell you unironically that Adam is not only the best character in Hazbin Hotel, but was in the right when it came to his exterminations of sinners in hell. An often overlooked and underportrayed aspect in Hazbin Hotel is that hell is a terrible place. It is a containment center for the worst people who have ever walked on Earth. Hell is not a nice place. Murder, sexual assault, crime, manipulation, and abuse run rampant throughout hell, and as we have seen with characters like Angel Dust and Husk, the circumstances they find themselves in from residing within hell for long enough has caused them great physical and mental harm. Even Charlie, the most optimistic person in hell, knows how bad it is, and wants to get sinners out of hell and into heaven. And this is where Adam comes into play. You see, Adam is portrayed as the villain because he wants to carry out mass exterminations of sinners annually for his own entertainment. The viewer is supposed to see him as a bad guy for this, but taking into account that hell is a terrible place that nobody wants to be in, isn't killing sinners in hell the same as setting their souls free? He even named the angels that accompany him on these exterminations exorcists, and for those of you who don't know, historically what real-life exorcists do is vanquish souls that are misguided or can't find peace. Exorcists historically don't vanquish souls out of malicious intent. They do what they do to help souls find peace. It is a very underdeveloped notion of what happens to sinners when they are killed in hell, but if you look at what Adam and his exorcists are doing from an outside perspective, he's probably doing many sinners in hell a service rather than harm. On top of that, if you rewatch the original pilot, a lot of territory is opened up to be ruled by whatever sinner can conquer it. It's because of Adam's actions that once a year any sinner who wants to has a chance to secure power within hell for themselves and make a change. In a way, you could compare Adam to a disease. In the natural world, when a species becomes overpopulated, diseases call to excess life to ensure that the natural balance of predators and prey continues. This same rule is applied to hell. It's unsaid if there is ever a resource problem, but as the population of humanity increases, that means more and more people die, and therefore are sent to hell, and without a counterbalance like Adam in check, hell would become overpopulated, making life down there even more miserable than it already is. If it wasn't for Adam, hell would be an overstuffed, resource-drained city where nobody has the opportunity to rise within its ranks, making those who are in power difficult to overthrow due to nobody being able to break out of the deals they make, and the deal makers having an unlimited lifespan. It would be a never-ending oppressive oligarchy controlled by those who have been there the longest, without any changes in leadership or power vacuums ever becoming available. Okay, so at this point you may be thinking, alright, maybe the extermination isn't that bad, but what about who he is as a person? How could you defend his belief that hell is forever and that sinners don't deserve a second chance? Well, look at it this way. The way Charlie pitches her idea is like it's a second chance for sinners, since at any point anyone can improve. And while that is true for the most part, hell isn't a second chance. Everyone in hell, while they were alive, had plenty of second chances throughout their life to become better people before they died. And if it has to take somebody being sent to hell and punished throughout all of eternity to want to become a better person, does that really count as them wanting to become a better person for the sake of being a better person, or is it just because they no longer want to suffer the consequences of living a life full of misdeeds? And this is proven to be true in the show itself, as nobody in hell besides Vaggie actually believes in the hotel. Even Angel Dust, who is the only sinner who quote-unquote improves, only attends the hotel for a free place to stay, not because he wants to be better. And when he does become better, as we see in episode 6, by not condoning stealing and sticking up for his friends, does that really balance out a lifetime of sins? Given his experience with guns, it can be deduced that while he was alive, he has experience with guns, and since he's in hell, it's not a crazy proposition to say that he probably killed some people while he was alive. I don't think not condoning stealing and defending his friends really balances out with murder. And again, ignoring angel dust, it's likely that the majority of sinners Adam kills at every extermination are some seriously bad people who would manipulate Charlie so that they can get into heaven. If you get the most manipulative and backstabbing people who were once alive an opportunity to get into heaven, it's basically assured someone will find a way to break the system and take advantage of Charlie and her hotel, ending in a complete disaster for heaven and the innocent souls who populate it. Lastly, let's address the elephant in the room, his misogynistic attitude. I'm not going to defend the way Adam acts concerning this issue, but if you think about it, it's not that difficult to understand why he's like this. Adam and Lilith were both made for each other, and in the most literal sense possible, and it was her that broke them apart and cheated on him with another angel. Adam was the first person in all of existence to be heartbroken. He was the first person to ever be betrayed. He was the first entity in all of creation who felt like he couldn't live up to the very purpose he was designed for. Imagine that. Imagine if you were the only being in the world to feel inadequate, to feel unloved. Now, it's not unreasonable to say that it might have been Adam's fault for being over-controlling, as it is implied by Charlie in her story, but just think for a minute. Who wrote that story? Is it at all possible that the story made for Charlie might have been revised by the author to make themselves look better than they actually are? After all, the story paints Lilith as the person who made hell into a thriving society while painting her husband as a pathetic quitter. This detail makes this story all that more unreliable, as we know in reality Lilith, who in this story apparently empowered demonkind, in actuality abandoned hell for the comforts of heaven. Until season 2 comes out, we don't know for sure how trustworthy Lilith is, but that leaves us with two possibilities. Either Adam was over-controlling and that made Lilith cheat on him, or he made a mistake, but before he was even given an opportunity to apologize or redeem himself, Lilith had already cheated on him. We don't know much about Lilith, but given how overbearing she was with Charlie while she was a kid, depriving her of having a father growing up, and she obviously isn't loyal to others given how she abandoned her own husband and daughter to live in heaven, I'm going to give Adam the benefit of the doubt here and say that his controlling nature was either taken out of context or over-exaggerated by Lilith in this story that is meant to serve as propaganda for her daughter. So assuming my perception of Lilith is correct and she blew way out of proportion whatever mistake Adam made, and in an act of spite cheated on him, is that the reason why Adam is so misogynistic? Well, yeah, Lilith probably is a big part of this equation, but there is another player in this story, Eve. So let me paint this picture for you again. You are the first person in history to ever be cheated on for a reason that more than likely wasn't completely your fault, and due to this end up failing the very purpose for which you are created. All hope probably seemed lost, until you were given a second chance with someone new, only for this new love of your life to be corrupted by your ex into becoming evil, and then also cheating on you with the very same person whom your ex cheated on you with. I truly do think that Adam wanted his relationship with Eve to work. After all, you don't realize how valuable something is until you lose it, so it's likely he cherished Eve so much more after Lilith cheated on him. But when Eve cheated on him, that was the breaking point. From that point on, Adam never saw women the same way again, leading to him becoming the way he is by the events of the show. Why I think this point about Adam is so important is that the heartbreak he went through is reflected a lot in his personality. He sees himself as an ultimate being because despite everything he went through, he didn't let it defeat or define him, and he ended up becoming a celebrity in heaven against all odds. All of the exterminators are female because of the love and admiration he was deprived of. And finally, and most important to the story of Hazbin Hotel, it's because of Eve that he doesn't believe in second chances, since he knows from first-hand experience what second chances amount to. Adam is a nuanced, flawed character who made the best of the cards he was dealt and conquered his traumatic experiences and made something of himself. He wasn't an altruistic hero who did what he did in the interest of others. He was an unintentional hero who acted in his own self-interest, and in doing so, freed many souls of their eternal torment, and became a force of nature who acted as an indiscriminatory vessel to keep the most powerful beings in hell in check, while creating opportunities for the less powerful beings in hell to have a chance to rise within hell's ranks. And in his final moments, after all the betrayal he experienced with Lilith and Eve, he died like a hero, smiling, knowing that there was at least one woman who cared and was loyal to him to the bitter end.
I wonder what your bitch would think if she found out you are actually one of us,